This meeting of the Norwood City Council is called to order. Please rise for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Whittington, would you like to lead us in our prayer, please?
Our fathers, who counsel in heaven, whose body we congregate, counsel and change. We pray for thy divine guidance that we may do all things well, according to thy holy will. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Should we call the roll, please?
Mr. Braden. Here. Mr. Clark. Mr. Whittington. Here. Ms. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Thornbury.
Here.
Mr. Sanker.
Here.
Mr. Mumper.
Here.
All 6 of the 7 members present here. We have a quorum. Just for a note, Donna Lake, who would normally be sitting in this chair, is not here this evening, so I will be filling in the position of running the meeting in place of the President of Council. Note that Andrew Clark has arrived. To my knowledge, we have no amendments to the agenda, so we shall move directly to the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there a motion on the floor regarding the previous minutes?
Accepted.
Should we do both? Do you have both?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the motion is to accept both minutes from the October 14th and the October 28th council meeting. Do we have a second? Mr. Clark seconds. Oh, that's right, we call the roll. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Braden.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Whittington.
Yes.
Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Thornbury.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Sanker.
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the motion passes. Please have the readings of the captions for the minutes.
We don't read, we just pass them.
Okay, never mind. We have 2 requests at this point to address council on agenda items. I'll take them in the order in which they were received. To address council, you come up to the microphone here, speak clearly into the microphone. You have 5 minutes, did we decide? Yes. It's always gone between 5 and 3 minutes. You have 5 minutes to speak, and in this case, I would call to the microphone Mr. Charles Jones III of 4206 Lafayette Avenue, who wishes to discuss 562. Mr. Jones, welcome.
Thank you. My name's Charles Jones, 4206 Lafayette, Norwood. I'm a lifelong resident of Norwood. After this meeting that you're all getting ready to vote on not approving the name change, it hasn't ended there. We need to keep going. I need people to come with me to the state capitol the 2nd week of January. We got to let our voices be heard there. We have a petition that we have sent in to the state capitol about the 562. We need as many signatures as we can get. I'd appreciate it if some of the council here would look at it and sign, see what you think. It's nothing, derogatory. We're not a racist group. It's nothing like that. I love Norwood. We all love this town. Let's, find somebody who deserves the name. In my book, it's Carl Linder or keep it to Norwood Lateral. That's all I got to say, and thank you for letting me speak, and God bless Norwood.
Thank you, sir. All right, one more request to address council from Richard B. Childers of 1946 Elm Avenue here in Norwood. The topic is renaming the 562 parentheses Norwood Lateral. Mr. Childers, you have 5 minutes. Thank you, please.
Good evening,
repeat
everyone.
your name and address for.
My name's Richard Childers. I live at 1946 Elm Avenue. And if anybody would like an InfoWars magazine, you can get one out front for free. I'd like to address 562 and what it has in common with naming things and memorializing people. I think that it's a bit ahead of time to even consider somebody that's in office at the time or in public service, or for that matter, whose reputation could be imbuing the character of our city with their name in the future. I know of one person who was named and given a Nobel Peace Prize, and it really imbrues the Nobel Peace Prize to have his name attached to it. I certainly wouldn't want to do that to our city or anything memorialized in Norwood or even in the state. I think you should look at the content of someone's character and have a good fill of it first before you decide to name something after them and memorialize them that way. That's all I have to say. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, we have no third or second reading of ordinances. We will move to introductory reading of ordinances. Ordinance declaring the official...
Committee report. Committee of the whole report.
Oh, how did I miss that? Oh, sorry, reports of standing committee. That very relevant to the current situation. Sorry. Yes, we'll move to committee reports. We have the committee of the whole report. Normally, this report would be read by Donna Lake, who sits here because she is chair of the committee of the whole. If there are no objections, I will just go ahead and read the committee report, unless anybody has any preference for reading it. Committee of the whole report dated 11/6/14 to the Honorable Council, the City of Norwood, Ohio. We, your committee of whole, to whom was referred a resolution objecting to renaming State Route 562, beg leave to submit the following report. Members in attendance agree that the resolution before you tonight, as drafted by Sarah Allen and Chris Brown, with changes made during the committee of the whole meeting, be placed on the agenda for the 11/11/14 council meeting. We recommend passage at the 11/11/14 meeting. Respectfully submitted, Donna Lake chairperson, Sarah Allen, John Breeden, Andrew Clark, and myself, Steve Thornberry. Do I have a motion to accept the report? Mr.
So moved.
And a second? Mr. Whittington, thank you. Call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the committee report is accepted. Now we will move to, since there are no third or second readings, we'll move to the introductory reading of ordinances. The first one is an ordinance declaring the official intent of the city to reimburse the city of Norwood, Ohio with proceeds from subsequent borrowing and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion? Mr.
Motion to
Breeden,
accept the letter and have all three readings and declare an emergency, please.
do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Whittington. Call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting aye, the motion is accepted. Please have the three readings of the introduction to the ordinance.
An ordinance declaring the official intent of the city to reimburse the city of Norwood, Ohio, for temporary advances made for capital expenditures and declaring an emergency. An ordinance declaring the official intent of the city to reimburse the city of Norwood, Ohio, for temporary advances made for capital expenditures and declaring an emergency. An ordinance declaring the official intent of the city to reimburse the city of Norwood, Ohio, for temporary advances made for capital expenditures and declaring an emergency.
Do I have a motion to accept, Mr.?
Yes. So moved. I move to approve the ordinance.
Okay, and seconded by Mr. Breeden. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All present voting yes, motion is accepted. I'm sorry, Mr. Mumper?
You didn't ask for discussion.
Oh, you're right, I didn't.
I just thought we should mention that this is just a spending by the city for capital expenditures that'll be reimbursed by money coming into another fund. So it's just a fund transfer type thing that will happen at a later date. It's kind of, the heading sounds kind of confusing. The city will pay the city, you know.
Mr. Sanker?
Yeah, this all has to do with the road resurfacing over near the Rookwood projects over on Smith and Williams and Edwards in that area there. If you've been over there lately, you've seen what that work's been done on the roads there. That's what this actually pertains to.
Okay.
So.
Something else? Mr.
I
Breeden?
believe we have a guest here tonight. Is there any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a gentleman from Dinsmore and Shoal here, Mr. Mecklenburg. Would we all like to give a little explanation if you'd like to step forward, Mr. Mecklenburg? Give us your name and address and who you work
Absolutely.
for and all that.
My name is Rob Mecklenburg. I'm an attorney over at Dinsmore and Shoal. We represent Jeffrey R. Anderson, who was involved in a 2011 deal that the city assisted financing. It was the TIF deal, Rookwood Exchange transaction. I'm here tonight to answer any questions about the ordinance. Basically, this is an in-between ordinance that we often ask municipalities to pass, and it says that we are able to reimburse, it would be the city for expenditures made to the actual receipt of funds. So the way things stand right now, we will plan on closing in this transaction, which will not be a debt obligation or anything of the sort, by the city late February. We're here because the Internal Revenue Code requires us to be here and declare this official intent to reimburse for expenditures. All told, I think the expenditures, which are repayable from TIF funds, I think the city got a grant for roughly $220,000, and then there's an estimated $100,000 to $130,000 that will be made out of that TIF fund. So we have to be here to kind of get it on the books because we're not going to have, we'll be back with a regular authorizing ordinance for the refunding of those 11 bonds and this tiny little additional project. So I'm here because the Internal Revenue Code requires me to be. Happy to answer any questions. The road improvements are fairly low-key, as Councilman Sanker indicated. They are on the Smith-Edwards area. All told, close to $350, $220 in a grant, $100 to $130 would be repaid from TIF funds.
Any questions for Mr. Mecklenburg? Is there a rough estimate, you said, when this next stage will take place, the actual, or is that?
The actual authorizing ordinance will likely talk with Chris Brown and be back either in December or after the first of the year. After that, there will be some documents to sign, but it'll be very similar to the 2011 transaction.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming
Thank you
tonight.
for having me.
All right. We will move on to the introductory reading of resolutions. The first is is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Do we have a motion? Mr. Sanker.
Yes, Mr. President, I would recommend that we have all three readings of the resolution.
Seconded by Mr. Mumper. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please. Whoops, I'm sorry.
Just in discussion, a little explanation. This is a formality that we have to submit to the county tax board in referencing the collection of our taxes that are coming into the county that we will then request that they are forwarded to us. So it's more of a formality type paperwork deal. As well as I would like to ask if there's anything through the chair to the law director, if there's anything he'd like to add to that.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, I think that pretty much sums it up. The county requires that the city adopt this resolution accepting the amounts and rates of the taxes. It's kind of a formality that has to be done each year.
Thanks.
Any other questions? The motion on the floor is to have all three readings. Please take the, call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
I say roll
Yes.
call.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornbury,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the resolution or the motion passes. We will now move
That was
to,
it. That
No,
was
he
the
didn't
three
have all
readings. We
three
got a
readings.
motion to pass.
okay, now do we have a motion to pass it?
No,
Mr.
no, no.
We have to read them first.
Oh, I have to read them. We're getting all confused tonight. Sorry.
Surprised?
Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution? Mr. Clark,
So moved.
seconded by Ms. Allen. Please call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornbury,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the resolution passes. We will now move to the introductory reading of the second resolution, the resolution objecting to the renaming of State Route 562. Do we have a motion on the floor? Ms. Allen,
Yes, and I ask we suspend rules and have all three readings?
is there a second? Mr. Clark, call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornbury,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the motion has been accepted. Please have three readings of the resolution. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. We'll have discussion.
Discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, is there any discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I'm supposed to choose. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to explain, it's just slightly different. We had a committee of the whole meeting, and I just wanted to explain to everyone what's in here. So basically, it just kind of simplified the initial resolution, but to me, and based on some of the feedback from residents at the committee of the whole and just in other discussions, we wanted to make sure that the state knew that if there were to be a suggestion of a renaming in the future, that they first contact, so we lay out a process, so that they first contact us before it even goes to the floor, and it gets introduced as a bill, and that there is a time for elected officials' input and also residents' input as well. So that was one key thing that is in here. The other key point is that we want to make sure that we reiterated that we really don't want to have an elected official that's currently sitting because of some of the stuff that's been discussed already, that it often can lead to trouble. So we put in here that it could be a formally elected official or someone that has contributed positively. I know someone mentioned Carl Lindner tonight. So those are just some examples. So we wanted to make sure the state knew that we were clear where we were coming from and that we wanted to lay out a process if this ever were to come forward again. So those are the two main things. And the only last thing I did want to mention, Chris Brown drafted the first resolution, and he did put something in there about some other potentials for looking at what the route could be, such as a boulevard. There were some good suggestions in there, so we took that out. I think we were in agreement, not that they were bad suggestions, but that this probably wasn't the place to put them in. So that's just explanation.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone wants to add anything.
Mr. Mumper.
Yeah, a couple comments. The first resolution was basically written by the mayor with Chris Brown, and like as Sarah said, it still says the same thing. We object to the renaming of 562, so that the basics are still there. I received a phone call tonight from a local businessman who's a Norwood resident, and he pointed out something to me that hadn't been discussed. When they built 562 ages ago, before some of you were around, they took away a lot of property that was paying taxes to the city of Norwood. They took away income when they put that road through. And we had we couldn't object to that because the state has the right of way to do that. And it doesn't seem right that they should try to do something else to hurt us, because it really divided Norwood in half with the lateral. And it's funny how when we reduced the council people on the council from 9 to 7, it divided the city into quarters, and those divisions are by Norwood Lateral and Montgomery Road. So it kind of, continued to divide. But he says, it prevented a lot of business growth for some of the people close to the lateral, and some of those businesses have moved out. And he said he just would like me to mention that because there are points that weren't discussed at the first council meeting. And I don't know if they were discussed at committee of the whole. I wasn't able to attend that. But he made some good points, and I told him I'd share that with everybody.
Very good. Appreciate that. Does anybody else have any comments? All right.
So 3 readings. All right.
3 readings.
A resolution objecting to renaming State Route 562 and declaring an emergency. A resolution objecting to renaming State Route 562 and declaring an emergency. A resolution objecting to renaming State Route 562 and declaring an emergency.
Do we have a motion? Mr. Clark?
Move that the
Seconded by
ordinance
Mr.
be
Whittington.
passed.
Call the roll.
Mr. Braden?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Whittington?
Yes.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Sanker?
Yes.
Mr. Mumper?
Yes.
And I skipped Mr. Thornbury.
Yes,
Sorry.
you did. All present voting yes, the resolution passes. The mayor is not present tonight, so we've been not having administration reports. And to my knowledge, there are no other requests to address council on non-agenda items. Do we have any unfinished business amongst council members? Mr. Sanker.
Yes, Mr. President, just a quick report on a couple projects that are moving forward. I know Crown Avenue, the resurfacing of Crown Avenue is moving along. It actually, if anybody's been down there, could notice that, it was completely redone. So we're hopefully that'll be completed soon. Also, we discussed earlier over near the Rookwood area, over on Smith Edwards area, how the resurfacing of that has virtually been completed, and what a difference it's made in that area as far as people traveling through there, and it was good timing right before the holidays, so that has progressed as well.
Here. Any other unfinished business? Mr. Sanker.
Yes, sir. Just a note, I know we had discussed earlier, salt bids and salt, just in the event that people, as most people know, that when the salt bids came in, there were no bids. Nobody bid this year. So we were kind of on the open market for salt. However, with the threat of a storm coming in, I don't think anybody should be alarmed or worried, because we do have a lot of salt still stored down that we purchased at the end of last year that we have in storage, and it has been covered, so we should be fine to keep us rolling. I know Mr. Gears has been in communication with a couple companies with some salt on the open market, so we should be covered for this winter for the most part, as long as we don't have as bad a winter as last year. So, knock on wood. Thank you.
Appreciate that. I know people were concerned about that. I'm thinking about that coming in this evening. Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Mr. Whittington.
Today, I was watching a Facebook account, and the Chief of Police, Bill Kramer, has challenged the Norwood City Council for layups for Lauren. So if we can get a basketball court, I guess we need to go through with that.
Okay, I wonder how we officially handle this one.
I think the law director should do that.
Okay, we'll throw this one to the law.
Mr. Whittington, I can facilitate this for you.
Appreciate that, Mr. Whittington.
I know, I'm the best at basketball.
That's what I missed, so. And you bleed purple.
Truly tied. This year too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, any other new business? Mr. Sanker?
Yes, sir, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge and thank all the veterans who've made this country what it is today. It is Veterans Day. A lot of city offices were closed, and post office and banks. But I think a lot of times things get overlooked as far as the sacrifice that was made by not only the people from the city of Norwood, but across the whole nation. We do have down in the lobby a plaque honoring some of the veterans that served here, as well as we have Victory Park up on Montgomery Road, which serves as a remembrance and a reminder of the sacrifice that our residents and the residents of the entire United States, the sacrifice they made so that we were able to sit here as a council and discuss things openly in a forum where we can vote on things openly, whether it be 562 or whether it be anything at all that may be controversial. We're given that opportunity by the sacrifices that these men and women have made over the years. So to all of them, I thank you, and on behalf of council, I want to thank all the veterans who have served our country proudly. Thank you.
Well put, thank you very much. Mr. Mumper?
Yes, the layups for Lauren reminded me that a local business last Sunday, some of you may know of Quatman Cafe, they opened on Sunday during the game and televised it at their establishment, and they took donations, and all the wait staff donated their tips to a fund for Lauren Hill, and it amounted to $1,500.
That's what I had not heard of that. That's
Yes,
great.
that's nice when a local business steps up like that.
Definitely. All right, any other new business? All right, we have no absent members who need to be excused.
We got the communications, Mr. President.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. We have one communication. We have a letter from the mayor regarding mayor's court fines. Do you have that?
I don't have a letter.
Oh, do we have a motion to, we don't read it first?
Oh, I guess we read it. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We're having a tough night tonight. I am.
Really?
Ms. Donna M. Lake, President, and members of Norwood City Council, Norwood City Hall. RE Mayor's Court fines. Dear Madam President and members of Council, enclosed, please find the report for Norwood Mayor's Court for the month of October 2014. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Thomas F. Williams, Mayor, City of Norwood.
Do I have a motion to accept the letter? Mr. Clark, seconded by Mr. Mumper. Call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, the letter is accepted. Again, we have no absent members in need of
President.
an excuse. Sorry?
I move with adjourn.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Braden. There's a motion to adjourn. Call the roll.
Mr. Braden,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Whittington,
Yes.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry,
Yes.
Mr. Sanker,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumper.
Yes.
All members voting yes, this meeting is officially adjourned.
Okay.